Hey, what's up, rock stars? Welcome back to the channel. All right, let's talk about YSAP, him trying to steal this election, you guys. Let's talk about the fallout from the election, and let's talk about the Rona. Two big things that's all over everywhere, you guys. Let's get to it, shall we? All right, you guys. So I am actually, Jada is in town with Louis, and Louis needed his shot. So we're actually at the place. It's a low cost. It's supposed to be low cost. It's still over $100 to get his shots and a checkup and deworming if he has worms, which we don't think he does, and all that other stuff. So I'm actually there right now. So I'm on location, y'all. I was like, let me do part of this video while they're in there with him. They don't let you go in. So, I mean, not that you guys asked, but I thought I'd let y'all know anyway. All right, you guys. So first topic today, you know we got to talk about it, the election. Well, we talked about the election last week. Remember we was partying? Remember we was celebrations all over? Okay, well this week we getting down to the reality of the situation, which is YSAP does not want to give up his seat. He does not want to concede. He does not want to leave the White House. He has convinced everybody, at least on his side, and that would be somewhere around 70-something million people, that the election was stolen from him, that he did indeed win, that there has been all types of illegalities that have happened since the election, and he is challenging it. He has not made any type of appearances, with the exception of yesterday on Veterans Day. And side note, shout out to all the veterans out there. You know who you are. You've done what you've done for us and our country, and we appreciate you 100%. We cannot reiterate that enough. So hope you guys all had a great Veterans Day and that you were able to get all the free food that you can. Somebody is coming out, I believe. Oh no, she's not for me. Okay, so anyway, so it's been a mess, you guys. Wasn't really worried about it. Still not too worried about it, but we would be, it would be irresponsible not to be at least a little concerned about the direction that our country is headed. You guys, the United States prides itself on democracy. This is a free state, a free country, and the way that we do things is everybody gets together and we vote on it. The majority wins, and that's what it is. That's how it's been as far as our presidential elections have happened for years and years and years and years, and that's how we've always expected it to be. This particular YSAP, when he was put in place, we quickly found out that not only was he the who you guys elected to be y'all president, we also saw that he was a narcissist. We also saw that he was an egomaniac. We saw that he was power hungry and power filled, I guess I should say. He's the number one person in the country at the time, and somewhere along these 4 years, it has turned into something. It has festered, is really the better word for it, to what we have today. We have a 74-year-old toddler in the White House who will not leave, will not give up his toys, and will not let Joe Biden, who is the president-elect, will not let him get started with this transition. He's withholding funds, so Joe Biden and his team cannot really get in and, start to do the things that they need to do to start on with his policies. It's honestly has been a mess. And to be truthful with you guys, we were not surprised by this. He had been building this up for months before the election, kept on saying that if he lost, then that was because the election was rigged. Didn't want to put much stock into the mail-in votes, the absentee votes. So we saw this happening. We saw it coming months and months ago. I actually watched Bill Maher, and I remember him saying probably 2 years ago that if YSAP lost, that he would not leave the office. And then here we are, fast forward to today, and the man will not leave, okay, will not concede. I think it is honestly a mess. And if you were really out there and reading the the newspaper, the digital newspaper, and really just kind of listening to some of the political pundits out there. This could go either really well or really bad. Okay. If you were going to keep the positive parts of it, if you wanted to keep positive with this, you would think that our democracy would stand, and that, he challenging some of these states on their ballots, they'd hurry up and recount it, find out that there was no fraudulent activity going on, and we can get these states certified. They have until the middle of December. I'm not sure what the date is, but they have until mid-December to get the states certified. We can get these electors, sent on to the Electoral College. They can place their votes, and we can be done with it. Now, that's if we were going to keep the positive. If we were going to look at the more frightening, damaging, negative parts of this, then he could rally, like I said, somewhere around 70-something million people behind him to challenge this whole thing and say, you know what? The election was rigged. He doesn't have to leave, because it hasn't been fair. And they can challenge it and continue on and try to get it up to the Supreme Court. And, even though I don't believe that the Supreme Court will support what YSAP is trying to do, you get that uneasy feeling that the Supreme Court is a very conservative court. These are judges who, a couple of them YSAP has put in place, but they've always swung to the right. And, when you really think about it, the nation's democracy is in the balance. And it is a scary thought, I was reading in the New York Times, and there was a guy who said that it just sets a really dangerous precedence for the United States of America, because now who's to say every time we have an election that the president or the person that is running for president, anybody can say this election was rigged. And then we've got to go through all of these changes before it's time for inauguration day, and try to, and possibly could hold up what has been happening for years and years and years, you guys. And it is just really frustrating to see, because I just feel like it's so obvious what YSAP is doing, firing his chief of staff, and the person over the defense. And, it feels like he is firing everybody who is not going to be 100% loyal to him, the loyalist, they call them, who will, if we can get this thing as far as we can, who will continue to really support him and just continue to push this narrative that the election was stolen from him. Okay. True to YSAP, he throws all of the people under the bus that he is, that does not support him, or that doesn't, not necessarily that doesn't support him, but doesn't do what he says. Okay. Most of these states have Republican, they're Republican led. The election board is led by a Republican, and, Republican senators or whatever. And it just so happened that the state flipped blue, and now he's upset with them. When you see these the election board, the head, I can't think of the name right now, you guys, but when you see them talking on the news, they're very frustrated, because how is it that they would try to, if we really would think about it, why would these Republican states try to lie on their boss? Okay. YSAP is a Republican. They're the Republican. Okay. It seems like it would be better and more in their interest to actually have a Republican president. So it just seems that they would make sure that they did everything above board. Okay. And that they would actually be checking to make sure that there was a way, if there really truly was a way for the Republicans to win, that they would explore those options as well. So it is honestly a mess. But we did expect this from YSAP. What we did not expect, though, was for the Republican Party. These are responsible, what we thought were responsible U.S. senators and the such, who are kind of mums the word on whether or not they support the fact that YSAP lost and that Joe Biden is now the presidential elect. So what they're doing is they're not necessarily saying that Joe Biden is the president-elect. What they're doing is just not saying anything. There's only been 4 senators. I don't remember the 4 that did finally come out and congratulate Joe Biden. But there's been 4 senators who have acknowledged that he is the new president. And what that should tell you is that there are an overwhelming majority of senators, Republican senators, who just are not going to say anything, who have not supported this fact. And a lot of times, when you don't say anything, that makes it seem like you are supportive of what is happening. These Republican senators, in particular, are afraid of the repercussions of going against YSAP, not necessarily because he is still very powerful, which he is. So, I mean, that's part of it. But the other part is that they are afraid to upset this 70-something million people who actually did vote for YSAP. They are looking at their futures, which honestly, when you think about it, doesn't make sense, because many of those Republicans were up for vote. They were up for election in this past election, and they won. They are cemented in their place for however long senators have the seat. What is it, 2 years, 4 years? I'm not quite sure, but they have the seat. They can't be put out, but for whatever reason, the majority of these Republicans are just not wanting to say anything. And they are a part of the dismantling of the democracy of the United States because, like I said, when you don't say anything, it seems like you're supporting. Frustrating to see as the days go on. And, if you really want to start looking into conspiracies, or if you really want to start looking into the what ifs, then get on social media and it will have you worried. It'll have you worried. I still feel like, it's not going to go anywhere, but just the fact that we've got to go through this and you've got somebody in there who is just digging in their heels and just really not trying to, come on board on this whole thing. It is, but YSAP has been able to get away with so much and has been able to do so much and has scared so many people that it's not surprising. It's not surprising. What is surprising, though, is, well, I don't even know if this is surprising, but, when I keep on saying that that's 70-something million people, I mean, it's 48% of the country agreed with at least most of YSAP's policies and the way that he did things. That is alarming. Like, the way that he was, to know that roughly half of the country, well, not half of the country, because there's another half that just didn't vote at all, but of the people who did vote, it's alarming to think that they are in line with the things that he said and did. And it's just, it's horrible, you guys. So there is a lot that's going on as far as this election is concerned. Inauguration day is January 20th. So we are coming up on that day. And, Joe Biden and his team are moving forward as if, YSAP did concede. He said that it is an embarrassment, and it is. Other countries seem very anxious to get YSAP out of office, with the exception of Russia, who hasn't said anything, and neither has, who was the other one that was it Korea, North Korea, or was it, there's been a few that have just not said anything because we already know that they wanted to make sure that they got YSAP in that office so that they can continue to blackmail them or whatever they was doing to get them to fall in line and say, Putin is not too bad. Kim Jong-un is not too bad. So all of that is going on. And it's just really, it is unfortunate, you guys, and it's crazy. It's a crazy time, but it's, par for the course. The last 4 years have been crazy, chaotic. This year has been the most crazy and chaotic out of all of them. So it's something that, we just kind of roll with the punches and, You know, we just deal with it like we have been dealing with it thus far. I keep looking ahead because I'm trying to see if they're going to be bringing Louis out soon. So we just going to keep our eye on it. We just going to keep our eye on it and hope that the right thing is done. I know here in Georgia, they are going to be doing a recount. I'm so glad that I didn't get caught up in that stuff. You know, when they didn't have me count, work that day, then I got kind of out of it. I would have been a part of those ones that had to recount by hand. I think they said somewhere around 5 million ballots. The people in the different counties was not prepared to have to do this. So now they're trying to rustle up the people and make sure that they get this done. And, they've said that recounts I think when Hillary Clinton challenged a count last time, 2016, I think they said she was able to get maybe 200 more votes. And in the grand scheme of things, that doesn't do anything. You're not going to flip around the results when you just picking up 200 more ballots, or 200 more votes, I should say. So everybody kind of looks at it as an extreme waste of time. However, this is kind of what the rules were. These were the laws that were in place. So everybody's going to play along and do what they're supposed to do. But it just seems like it's just more posturing and it's just bullshit, you guys. So and then it's sad because these people that are part of these recount teams and the heads of these election places in different counties are being threatened, not necessarily here in Georgia, but I believe in Pennsylvania. Lives are being threatened, death threats and all this, people going to the offices and just be menacing and threatening these people, and people just trying to folks are just trying to do their damn job. This is what they were hired to do, or this is what they were asked to do, and they're doing it, and look at all this that comes with it. We'll just hope that, I'm just going to continue to hope and pray that the right thing is done here. But as time goes on and as weeks tick on, as we continually see that YSAP is not stepping down, you have every right to be a little concerned about this. I'll pull my hair down some. Yeah, that's that. I done talked a whole long time on that. Y'all let me know what you think about it. Are you still feeling pretty good? I mean, I'm feeling good. I'm still feeling good, you guys. But yeah, you just kind of always gotta look at the other side. So you guys let me know what you think about all of that. Okay, you guys, also, I forgot, I did not get any notes on this, but I actually did see that so today is today is the first day of open enrollment for the Obamacare, basically the Affordable Health Care Act or whatever it's called. And it seems that Supreme Court, they did hear the arguments from the Republicans. Was that yesterday or 2 days ago? And as of now, they're saying that the Obamacare will live to see another day. I don't know the particulars on what they were arguing. I just know that they want to get rid of, the Obamacare. And with us being in the middle of a pandemic, and with people losing many of their jobs, and there's a crisis, healthcare crisis, people are losing their jobs, people are being evicted, and now you're trying to tell me that you're going to take away these people's insurance. So the Supreme Court seems to have voted, or well, I don't think they voted yet or whatever. It's not voted, but they haven't come back with their findings. But it looks like the Supreme Court is still going to uphold Obamacare. Evidently, there's one part of Obamacare that the Supreme Court is thinking about getting rid of. But other than that, as a whole, the Obamacare will still stay intact. So that is good news for many people, because nobody needs to be having those kind of problems with this pandemic. And we're going to talk about the Rona. Let's talk about that now. Yeah, I'm going to put this as plain as I can put it. It is out of control. They are not able to control the virus. It is running rampant across these United States. And it has gotten the medical community very, 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 very nervous as state after state almost reaches capacity in their hospitals. There are people, it's so overrun with coronavirus patients that it's all hands on deck. People are working in the capacity that they were not that they are not specializing in. However, if you got a degree, you work in the hospital, you know how to keep, keep as sanitary as you can, then they are having you help and tend to these coronavirus patients. I mean, there's not much that you can do, I believe, when coronavirus has taken over. You can help them be more comfortable. You can give them the different medications. And then from what I understand, the virus really has to just run its course. But, some get sicker, some need oxygen, some need ventilation. It could get, there's varying degrees where it can get worse and worse. But when we were seeing New York go through what they were going through when coronavirus first hit in, early March, now we are starting to see it all over the country. And just imagine, we can't have 50 New Yorks. New York was a case, or, New York, New Jersey, up in that area, they were going through what they were going through. And there was medical staff that was going from different, they were signing on people from different states to actually come there. They were paying them an astronomical amount of money to come and help out there. Well, what happens when every state is having the same problem? We now can't get medical staff to go help you because we are having the same problem here. And so now you've got people that are working to death. Our hearts go out to those who work in the medical community. And I'm not just saying doctors and nurses. I mean, it is way more people that are helping out and trying to ease the pressure, the inevitable pressure of trying to take care of all these people that, that are sick. So it's been really, really bad, you guys. And just to kind of give you a little bit of perspective here, Wisconsin's surge has been so huge. It took them 7 months to get to, I believe, 100,000 cases. And then it only took 30 days to get to another 100,000 cases. And they feel like in another 20 days, they'll probably be at another 100,000 cases. They're saying that Los Angeles County has the most cases reported since the virus began. They're saying that Texas has the most cases right now. Most college campuses in Texas, they have the most reported cases. It's all over. And there's a whole bunch of that happening all over the country. There are many states that are starting to crack down on restrictions and are about to start announcing not only mask mandates, but they are going to start closing down these gyms, these restaurants, these bars. They're saying that those are the hot spots. Those are where 80% of the virus is spread, which makes sense because it's human contact. And there's, in the case of a gym, it's bodily fluids and, a lot of sweating and in the air and all of this. I mean, you can imagine. So, and then as we get into the colder months where people are starting to head inside, the risk even goes up higher. I don't know how these businesses, these restaurants in particular, in the colder parts of the country are going to be able to maintain. There's no way that you can have people outside when you're in the middle of a fucking blizzard. You can't have people. Not that people are going to be trying to go out anyway, but you know what I'm saying? Like if it's really, really cold and, which is mostly on the East Coast, middle America. If it's cold, people are trying to go out to eat, even if you're sitting outside with a heater, that is cold. That's not comfortable. Nobody wants to be uncomfortable while they're trying to enjoy a dinner. And so I don't know how these restaurants are going to do it. And then honestly, people need to just work out at home, okay? Or work out in the open air, walk or work at the park or whatever you're doing. But these gyms, are starting to become a hot spot. I honestly feel like even if they shut down the country at this point, there's nothing that I don't even know how they can get control of it right now. So shutting down is not the answer. What we can do is put a mask on. You know, the CDC has finally come out and said the mask don't just protect you, the person that's wearing it, but it also protects the person that is across from you. You're protecting that person as well as yourself. And the masks have just been proven. I mean, we have seen people that have helped coronavirus patients. They've worn their mask and they didn't spread. It wasn't spread to them. I've had friends who actually had coronavirus, who wore their mask in their home. I mean, you can't always quarantine outside your home. I mean, if you got a family and you can't afford to be staying in a hotel for 14 fucking days or however long it takes, you got to be at home, you know? So if you may take the measures to stay safe, keep your mask on, wear your shield, you know, disinfect, you know, try not to be out and about around other people, then there's been many cases of my friends who were successful in that. The rest of the family didn't get it. One person might have got it, and then that was it, you know? So I don't know why it's so hard for people to understand that these masks do help. And right now, that's the only good thing that folks got going, you know? So it just needs to be done. I know people don't want to hear it. People don't want to wear them. People are saying that the government is telling them what to do. It is not a political issue. This is a healthcare crisis, you guys. And it's, I just feel like I be preaching and I be like, y'all be like, Roxanne, we get it, you know? So I don't like to keep like pounding it in, but it's a scary thought. Like millions and millions and millions of people have coronavirus, not just in the United States, all over the world, but the United States for us to be a first world country at the level that we are at, there's absolutely no excuse for the way that this thing has been run. It is a disaster. And this is the legacy that YSAP is going to continue to have to contend with for the rest of his whatever the fuck. You know, I wish that we could just get rid of the 45th whole experience. Like that whole thing, just act like it didn't happen. Go from 44 to 40. So you know how in the hotels that they skip the 13th floor? You just skip number 45. I would be fine with it. It's an embarrassment, and it is real life. People dying, 2-3. I mean, we're gonna be at 300,000 in no time, you guys, and it'll continue to grow. So of course, the next segue into this whole situation would be me talking about the vaccine that Pfizer has told us, you know, that it is on its way. Okay. They're very excited about the vaccine because the vaccine has a 90% effective rate, which is very, very high, I suppose. That's what they tell us when it comes to vaccines, and hoping that it will, you know, tamper out the virus that it has been slotted to attack. So they're saying that that's good. They're saying that the vaccine will be available to those who need it most by the end of December. And they're saying that it will be available to most everybody else by April of next year. Now, the question always arises. I always ask you guys, will you take the vaccine? Okay, now I've asked you guys this many times, and most of the times you guys have said, no, you ain't doing it. You don't trust it. But you know, as the virus gets more and more out of control, I'm wondering if that changes people's minds any. Okay. Especially when people that we've trusted in the medical community, like Dr. Fauci, has said that this is really, really good news. And isn't it convenient? Now, I will say that I feel like they held this information until after the election. Okay, YSAP's team says how convenient, you know, they didn't know about this beforehand. So it kind of made me feel like the medical community was like, fuck him, and we ain't saying shit until we know for a fact that, that he is out of there. Then we'll come out with the good news. And that doesn't even say that it's because of him, but you know, that would have definitely been something that he could toot. He could shout from the rafters that he was the one, you know, he was the YSAP who was able to get this vaccine done, you know, at a certain time. But anyway, so the vaccine, will you guys take it? Are you guys still feeling the same way that you felt about it as more and more people are getting it, and as they're letting us know that more and more people will get it, and therefore more and more people will die from it, even though they do have remdesivir and they have some other medications that seem to help those who are ill with it. But yeah, I just want to know what you guys think. As of now, I still feel like I wouldn't take the vaccine. Like, I've never taken a flu shot, but you got to remember that the flu don't have as high a death rate as COVID-19 does. And so that's really something to think about. And then I'm wondering if I was, or if me or my children was faced with it and got really, really ill, am I going to then say, no, we're not taking it? Or am I going to try to take whatever I can to get more help to make sure that my loved ones or myself is okay? So it's a lot to think about. It's a lot to think about because we don't really trust our government right now. Everybody is just sort of like, well, what this thing gonna do? And like I said, I didn't take the flu shot. Every year I kind of think about it, and then and I did have the flu a couple of years ago, and it was honestly the sickest I've ever been. I honestly thought that I was fixing to go up to Jesus. I was going to be with my mom and my brother and all my cousins and aunties and uncles that went on before me. Like, I thought it was one of them days I thought that I was going to die, and I didn't even care. Like, I don't know what the word is, but I was so sick. I was just like, this is the worst. And so I can imagine, what COVID-19, if you get like the more extreme case of it, I wonder what would be your mindset then. And then I don't even know if the vaccine works after you got it. I'm not sure if you have to have it beforehand or whatever. But yeah, you guys just let me know what you're thinking about COVID-19. Not COVID-19. I know what you think about that. What you think about the vaccine, and if all of this good news that's out there, has it changed your mind any? Y'all let me know about that below. All right, you guys, I forgot to talk about this when we were talking about the election and YSAP and all of that. You guys, let's talk about Eva Longoria and her comments on an MSNBC interview that she had the other day. Now, we all have talked about who played what role in making sure that Biden and Harris ticket won. It's been very clear who had Biden Harris's back. And that's just what it is, you guys. Eva Longoria got on MSNBC, and she was speaking about what has happened in the election, why they won, and they were talking about Black women going out to the polls and of casting their vote for that ticket. And Eva Longoria said, and I'm going to quote, "The women of color showed up in big ways." Now, when people say women of color, that does rub a lot of people wrong, because when you say women of color, it sounds like you are kind of discrediting Black women. All right. Descendants of slavery. Okay. African descendants of slavery. There's a huge movement with that going on right now. So they don't like to hear necessarily women of color, people of color, because we know that Black people is at the bottom of that totem pole. So anyway, I'm going to keep going. She says, "Of course, you saw in Georgia what Black women have done, but Latina women were the real heroines here, beating men in turnout in every state and voting for Biden Harris at an average rate of close to 3-1. Okay. Now that is what she said. Of course, people had a problem with that, because it was very clear that when we looked at the exit polls and when people were asked who they voted for as they were walking out of the polls, 91% of Black women said that they voted for Biden Harris. We compare that to the 70% of Hispanic Latina women who said that they voted for Biden Harris. Now, clearly, there's a 19% difference there. Black women did push them over. That's why there was a lot of backlash to what Eva Longoria said, because it was not true what she said. listen, nobody is going to discount the fact that Latina women did step up and vote for the Biden-Harris ticket. We can acknowledge that you've done that, but that doesn't mean that you get to erase what Black women have done. And, you know, as a Black woman, I'm used to these things kind of happening. But because it happens more and more, you know, it's just later for that. We don't get credit for so many things. Let us have our fucking due when we did what we did. Stacey Abrams, always got to give a huge shout out to her, who was able to get Black people out, not just women, but Black people, period, here in Georgia, because she was a victim of a true election being stolen. She knows how it feels. She didn't want that to happen this time. So she made sure that she made sure that there were all these programs in place and really pushed for Black people to get out, you know. And that happened all over the country. But Georgia is very, you know, we have to single out Georgia, because Georgia, and that's all of Georgia. I'm not just saying Atlanta, not just saying the urban parts. I'm saying all of Georgia. Black people in all of Georgia made a difference. Okay. But the reason why Georgia has to stand out is because it's historically been a red state. And I'm talking about strong, deep red state. So for this to happen, yes, it was a big feat. So you can't discount that. You can't undo history. You can't try to take credit for what you did or did not do. And yeah, it ain't gonna happen. And then we ain't even gonna talk about Black Latinas, because when you start talking about the Black Latinas or the Afro Latinas, they took offense to that too, because we know that Latina, you know, white Latina women don't even usually include them in that mix. You know, Black Latinas get heaped on with the rest of the Black women. You know, folks did have a problem with what Eva Longoria said. She finally did come out and apologize and said that she realized that her words, you know, did not make, didn't say what she misspoke, and what she was really comparing Latina women to was to Latino men. Okay, because remember, she says, but Latina women were the real heroines here, beating men in turnout in every state and voting for Biden-Harris at an average rate of close to 3-1. So if I was going to be like, okay, if I was going to try to believe what Eva Longoria said, because she did mention men there, she could have very well been saying that Latino women compared to Latino men, okay, were the heroines. They're the one who saved their race, or whatever you want to call it, because these women actually outvoted the men 3-1. It didn't sound like that's what she was saying, but because I kind of like Eva Longoria, and I just would like to think that that's what she was truly trying to say, I'm gonna give her a pass, not even a pass. I'm gonna give her like okay, girl. Like, okay, you know, if you really mean it. But I understand why people don't, you know, I understand why people might not necessarily believe her, because people have done it so much in the past, you know. So what feels good about this is that Black women, we gonna stick together. Now, even if Black women don't, you know, if we have our own little issues within our group, when you start to do shit like this, then that's when the Black women come out and be like, oh no, honey. Oh no. You're not fixing to take the credit on this one. We gonna stick together on this one. And we'll figure out our issues amongst our own selves later. But yeah, we can't let people rewrite history, because years and years and years and years later on, it needs to be correct in the history books. All right, it needs to be right. So that's what's going on with Eva Longoria. What do you guys think, though? Did you believe when she said that that's not really what she was trying to say? That's not really what she was trying to do? You know, of course, Black people, Black women are always, you know, the backbone. And Black women are the Black backbone. You know, I'm not just saying that because I'm a Black woman. It is what it is, you know? So, yeah. I meant to put that in with the original parts of the, when I was talking about the election, but I forgot. But thank goodness I have my handy dandy notes with me here, you guys. So that kind of keeps me on track. You guys let me know what you thought about Eva, what she said. Did you believe that she was trying to rewrite history, or do you think she just misspoke? Was misunderstood? You guys let me know about that below. All right, you guys, that is it. Let me get off of here. Still got to do top of the blogs, okay? Make sure that you rate, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I'm It's Rocks. The channel is for It's Rocks, and everything else I do will be in the bottom bar. All right. So I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and I plan on doing the same. Till next time, rock stars. Bye.